publish the evidence.
My Lords, I apologise that I didn't speak on this issue at committee stage. As I had stayed late to actually speak on the prior amendments in defence of women's reproductive rights, I decided to stay because this, in fact, is a natural follow-on. Because despite what's just been said, this is actually about women's rights, and it's about the concerns that women have that NHS guidance on trans issue are effectively undermining the right to have women-only or same-sex wards in hospitals. I'm not going to rehearse the whole issue around gender identity tonight. We're all far too tired. So I want to keep this quite straightforward for me. The noble Lord Etherton, I felt, rather dismissed the concerns when he said that we can't, more or less said that we can't pander to people who feel uncomfortable. And I just wanted to somehow express that women feeling uncomfortable, I don't know, having been a woman who's been in hospital, at your most vulnerable, needing to feel safe and so on, the idea that you can't guarantee single sex in that instance, yes, it's uncomfortable, but also this is a one gain and a right, and it's a perfectly legitimate right, and women shouldn't be made to feel embarrassed or patted on the head like, you know, don't you worry your pretty little heads, this is all to do with equality. And you know, we just heard a contribution that says, be careful, watch your language, effectively. But I'd say also, watch what you're suggesting that women should do, which is to back off from this issue. And I don't think that they should, and they won't. And it's also the case that all trans people are not represented by trans activists. And there are trans women that I know, and yes, it's anecdotal, there are trans women that I know who do not support trying to have mixed, effectively what will be mixed wards, or confusing or undermining single-sex wards in NHS settings. So, what do I think? I thought Lord Clement Jones, the noble Lord Clement Jones, made a very important point that I wanted to kind of just finish on, which is the review that we've got at the moment. So there's concerns, lots of concerns on all sides. Let's have a review. It seems that the Secretary of State wants a review, but we now don't know whether the review that's happening at the moment is the review that he wants or not. But the review that's happening at the moment is not satisfactory. It's that peculiar internal NHS review that's been referred to. The review is carried out with no public terms of reference, all seem to be carried out in secret. It's been co-led by Dr. Michael Brady, who is the advisor for LGBT at NHS England, which I'm sure that he is incredibly well-intentioned, but he's the LGBT advisor at NHS England, and I suggest that might make him rather the opposite of impartial. We now are told that the review has looked to Stonewall and Mermaids for support in the review. And it's been reported that in December, the lead reviewer wrote to campaign groups supportive of gender identity position on this issue, assuring them that, quote, there were no plans to reduce the existing rights of transgender people. Now, what I'd say to you is what I've just said now is not evidence at all, it's all hearsay. I'm just kind of repeating what somebody has said and maybe somebody said. And I can tell you that I'm not satisfied either, because I don't want to find out about this review by reading today's newspapers, which is where I basically got that information, and leaked emails. This isn't satisfactory. So I want actually the government to take this seriously and recognise that when we have somebody say there are no plans to reduce the existing rights of transgender people, that what women hear is, if I can translate it, is that women-only wards are not guaranteed at all. And I want the government to be honest with us about what they believe, what they're arguing for, and I want them also to take us away from having to discover these things in newspapers and instead give us an assurance that there'll be a new review set up that's independent, fully resourced, that actually has a clear set of terms of references that people on different sides of this argument can look at and discuss openly, try and detoxify it by bringing it out in the open and having a credible review with all sides of this argument consulted, represented and talked to. And absolutely, women should be asked and not given an hour's Zoom as an afterthought.